A very good morning to Dr. Y and all my fellow friends here. Today, I'm going to talk about the findings of my study on Petrol Malaysia refining and marketing Bwrr about its performance and its determinants. My name is Yeap. Shan. My number metric 298833. So let's move to the background of the Petrol Malaysia. The background of Petrol Malaysia has firstly founded in 1893. Then, in 1921, the first service station was opened in Kuala Lumpur. In 1963, the Petron M became a publicly listed company with a 24.5 millions of assets in Malaysia market. In the same year, Port Dickson Refinery was founded and supplied more than 88,000 barrels of gas per day. In 2016, the first and only 100 RON premium gasoline was first introduced in Malaysia market. In the problem statement, the scandal inside your firm involves allegation of financial mismanagement, and corruption among top executives may have some bad effects on the firm, such as the bad reputation and operations fail. Scandal can often come to light through whistleblowers, investigative journalism, or regulatory investigation, and this revealed action can really breach the trust of your stakeholders of the firm. So this makes that indirectly or directly brings the affection to the relationship between the firm and the stakeholders, in this case, such as the gas station retailers and the government. So here we come to the research objectives and question. The objective of this research are to find out that the internal, external, or the combining of the internal and external factors that could influence the Petron Malaysia performance. And the research is to questioning about is there any relationship between the internal factors, external factors, or internal and external factors with Petron Malaysia refining and marketing Berhad's performance. So next. In this study, we are determining the ROA as the performance of the Petron Malaysia, and the other variables will become the independent variables. So we review the past study to get a measurement, implication, and definition. So here we are looking for the first one, corporate governance, which refers to a comprehensive range of procedures that like such as norms, laws, and establishment that could direct a management of an enterprises. And the information for the performance, the information that we can gain from ROA is about the amount of money that returns from the every single value of our investment in one business. And the liquidity risk, in a more straightforward way, is the risk of being unable to liquidate a position promptly at a reasonable price. In our case, we are determining the liquidity risk with current ratio. And for the credit risk, it is defined as the extent to which changes in the underlying credit quality of borrowers generate value mutation in debt instruments and derivatives. So in our case, we are using the average collection period and debt to income ratio to determine this risk. Next, for the operational risk and the market risk. The operational risk is broadly defined as uncertain about the level of operational performance achievable during the operating life of a structural infrastructure asset. So in our case, we are using the operational margin and operational ratio to determining this risk. And for the market risk, it is refers to a potential losses in a liquid portfolio due to arising from the movement in market prices consists of interest rate, currency, and equity. So in our case, we are using unemployment rate, interest rate, inflation, and those macroeconomics factors to determine this market risk. Here we come to the methodology part. In the sampling technique, the data was taken from the annual report of Petro Malaysia and within the 2019 under 2023, and the ROE will be the dependent variables, while the others will be the independent variables. And in the statistical technique, we are analyzing the company's financial performance by calculating the financial ratio. How to calculate the financial ratio? We're taking the data from the annual reports, including income statement, balance sheets, and also the cash flow statements. And the information taken from the official database will be transferred into Excel and then analyzed by the SPSS. Next, for the data analysis, The dependent variables will be ROA. Well, there are three regression in the study. First one, internal factors. Second, external factors. And the third one is the combining of the internal and external factors. And in SPSS, which is a proficient information analytics stage, it helps us to accumulate information from the reports. And we use it to create maps, to create the tables, and deliver a clearer measurement. And it can help us to investigate the correlation between the dependent variable and the independent variables. Now we're here to finding and analysis in the descriptive statistic. For example, the ROA shows a mean of 0.04734 and a standard deviation of 0.02416. From the stockholder's perspective, this ROA may not be a comfortable region. However, the standard deviation shows a low variety of ROA, and it means that it is really stable throughout these years. Here's the correlation table. From the first column, you can see the Pearson correlation, p-value, and n, which is a observation, we have a total of 5 years of observation. And here's the Pearson correlation is actually telling us about the strength of the correlation between the dependent variables and the independent variables. So from the table, the ROE has the highest value of Pearson correlation among all of the positive correlation variables with a value of 0.983. And in contrast, the debt to income ratio has the largest negative correlation with a value of negative 0.992. And the p-value table showing that the ROE ratio, debt to income ratio, operating ratio, and unemployment rate are statistically significant due to a p-value lower than 0.10. However, the remaining variables may considering as an insignificant, statistically insignificant correlation with the ROA because their p-value is higher or bigger than the 0.10. Here we come to the model summary. There are three model regression as I have stated before. We can please focus at the adjusted R square. The internal model summary has the highest adjusted R square with a value of 0.973, which means that it is the strongest regression model to be at the predictors of the dependent variable, which is the ROA. And the external and the internal external showing a quite lower value in the adjusted R square. In this case, from the coefficients table, we can saw that the operation ratio in the internal coefficient table seems to be the only statistically significant variables that influence the dependent variables because it has a p-value which is lower than 0.10. And the others, for especially external and internal and external tables, have no any significant variables that influence the dependent variables. Here we come to the discussion of result. The three regression models show an intriguing outcome, which the internal model has the highest R-square value with a value of 0.993, and the internal and external model has a second place with 0.956, while the external model has the lowest with a 0.649. According to the correlation table, ROE, current ratio, debt to income ratio, operational ratio, and the unemployment rate seems to have a strong correlation with dependent variables. And from these independent variables, ROE and current ratio are believed to have a positive correlation, while the remainings have a negative correlation with ROA. And according to the coefficient table, they are only the internal variable or the internal regression model, such as operational ratio, operating margin, and corporate governance index, has a significant impact towards Petron Malaysia performance. When the researcher ran the cross-examining, the operation ratio seems to be the only and primary influencing variables on the ROA of the Petron Malaysia. Here's the recommendation. The first one, Petron Malaysia should enhance the operation management because it is important to have a smoothened operation method with all of the Petron gas station dealers, and it is crucial to gain stakeholders' support, including government. Second, the risk management committee should take control of the risk management process, and at the same time, they need to collab with all of the departments to make sure the operation goes smoothly. I think that's all from my part and my study. Thank you very much.